Listen, they pay my check, they told me, well, here's what they recommend. I said, okay, I'll follow.
You really said leave your room?
Well, you know, I said, there's no issue of me standing in the back trying to, with,
You can't sit in the back and go,
yeah,
What if you talk to you?
well,
If I'm really good at ignoring
so there's no question, I just go, I'll sit on the stairs.
You can hear at least?
I can, some, if I come up by the doorway.
We can just call you when we're done.
That's okay.
Unless you gotta do something.
There's enough to keep me busy.
Yeah.
Fresh tomatoes, like bits and Vinnie's mustard, chocolate, and the cutlets. Oh, it was so good. It's my kid's favorite summertime meal. I had to take a photo.
At least you can put on Facebook.
Really? Really?
between the accident and we only have like 60 tickets.
Why did someone spend like 130 tickets? I think we just had 150 or something. Letterhead. They're gonna do a little switcheroo.
Oh, speaking of switcheroos, I have a question here. Whereas the responsible address at 48 East Main Street, it's not, it can't be marked, he's recusing himself. You know?
Yeah.
But no one got
Yeah. 6:30.
Okay. Hello, good evening. Good evening to the Village of Pauling Planning Board meeting. Today is Tuesday, July 14th. And to start the meeting, Lou, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of
Please
Allegiance?
rise, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amanda, could you take the roll call, please?
Sure can. We have Chairman Mark Dalbazo,
Present.
Member Lou Masella,
Here.
Member Mike Rendich,
Here.
and Member Josh Archambault.
Present. Okay. All right, for the first order of business is the approval of the previous minutes from May 12th and June 9th. Can I have a motion?
Do you want to approve them together or separately?
Together.
Yeah,
Yeah. I move we accept the May 12th and June 19th, or June 9th meeting minutes as amended.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
At this point, I'd like to make a comment, and I'd like to praise Amanda for the great job she does on the minutes. She does it word for word verbatim. By law, she doesn't have to do that. She should just, she just encapsulate everything. But when you look at her minutes, it's actually like sitting right there during the meeting. So I just wanted to say you did a great job, and I appreciate all that work.
All right. Okay, the first application up this evening is 48 East Main Street. This is a public hearing, so if the applicant come forward. I will be recusing myself. This property is located in New York City watershed. I work for the New York City Department of Environmental Protection, and part of my agreement with the Conflict of Interest Board is to not sit on or give any guidance to properties within the watershed. Right now, I would like Lou to take over as vice chair for this public hearing. Thank you, Lou.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Kurt Johnson, J Group Designs, here on behalf of the owner, Arthur Slabzuski. Been before the board several times on this public hearing and discussions, and we've also been before the ZBA for public hearings on their variance requests on those. I believe last order of business we had with the planning board was a technical memorandum was going to be prepared for the change in the drainage practice on the property, and I think that Labella has prepared that for review by the board. In addition, I just wanted to let you know that in our last discussions with the ZBA, the applicant was proposing to actually reduce the unit count from 15, which was previously before you, to 14 units, which would thus decrease the parking requirement from 23 parking spaces to 21 parking spaces. We have 19, so that would also reduce the variance request from 4 spaces to 2 spaces. We've also asked that the village council take a look at the option to condition a variance if they were willing to consider it, to provide 2 parking spaces at Pauling Commons that would make up the difference in what is required at the site here. So it'd be 2 off-site parking spaces and a lease agreement with Pauling Commons.
So you secured that already?
We can, I think that the attorney was taking a look at that to see if that could be a condition of approval on this thing. So the owner of Pauling Commons is open to that as an option to lease 2 parking spaces to the owner of 48 East Main Street, so that we would have the required number of parking spaces. It's within walking distance of the.
I think there's another question in there, right? So you're talking about changing the variance, right, to
Yes.
include this? But I think one of the things they mentioned at the zoning board meeting that I think we'd also like you to take a look at is those 2 off-site parking places. Do they remove the need for a variance on parking at all? Right?
Well, I believe Ross is looking into it. We proposed to him that, the concept of providing the offsite, I don't know if it's currently in the zoning code right now that allows you to do so. It used to be, but I'm not sure if it is currently in the code. So either it could be a condition of the variance to provide off-site parking for those 2
Well,
spaces.
but I would definitely look at it both ways. I mean,
Yeah. Yes.
okay,
So I think that that's under review currently.
okay. So somebody has that action item? Like there is
Yes,
somebody,
yes.
okay,
The attorney in our office who represents the zoning board is looking.
awesome, okay.
And can you just reiterate what the apartment or the count is? It's down from 15 to 14?
Yes, so the original application is 15 one-bedroom apartments. We proposed to the zoning board to actually reduce the unit count to 14 units, 12 of which would be 1-bedroom, 2 would be 2-bedroom. So it reduces the parking requirement because we rounded up previously with the 15 units, so it required 4 spaces that we didn't have, and we're reducing that, so it only requires 2 that we don't have, so.
That's all ZBA.
That's what ZBA is looking at right now, but I just want to bring you up to speed on what's going on.
Well, but it changes their site plan. right?
Yes,
So
yes, so it's 14 units rather than 15,
Right.
yes.
But so on May 12th, we issued a neg deck. We asked them to do a stormwater plan.
Well, I think they
They
did
did.
it at their own.
They did, right? And we revised the resolution.
Yes.
Now, is this going to require another revision?
Right, so what changes are being actually made to it sounds like the impervious surface, everything is going to be the
It's
same.
exactly the same, it's just the unit
And the
count.
same variances are being requested, even if they're going to be a different number requested.
They would be, yes, they would be altered. So it would either be 2 spaces, if we reduce the unit count, we'd need 2 parking spaces waived or varied, and then 2 spaces that could be off-site, whether it be a variance or however else that they could look at it.
So, yes, and I guess, is Karen not going to be attending this evening?
No, Karen's not going to be here tonight.
Okay, well, the board should have received her memo, I hope.
Yes, we received it here,
And
and
it
good.
goes through, and the change, my understanding of the change is that the drainage system is going from, there's a technical term of some kind that I think I even used in this resolution.
Infiltration.
Infiltration to detention
Yeah.
is the change.
Correct.
And so Karen wrote this memo that goes through all of the factors that we looked at in the negative declaration last time, and basically says all of the changes in her view and the view of the engineer in her office, all of these impacts will be the same. And so the resolution that I prepared for the board to consider is one that and I would go through this if you'd like to consider this now, prior to continuing the public hearing, or
Yeah,
would you like to
I'd like
open?
you to look on page 2 first, on the, you have Mark de Blasio's name right there. Mark recuses himself from this, so you should change that.
On page 2?
Yeah, the first paragraph.
Okay, the responsible officer will
Right.
be you, I
Yeah,
presume?
yes.
And the other change then will be on the first page, because it will not be a 15-unit building. It will be a 14, is this an official change?
It's in discussion with the ZBA, so we're proposing that, so if it goes forward, we would love to just make that revision, but
Well,
Wait, I'm confused. Are you locking that in on your site plan, or?
we will, yes. I mean, if,
Dependent upon the zoning board?
yes, basically, we need the variance to move this forward.
Right, but we
So,
have a catch-22. We have to approve this before they can,
yeah, so it's a reduction in unit count from 15 to 14.
Okay.
So it's a reduction in any kind of impacts.
right. I think we can still move forward with this.
Can we just remove the unit count entirely and just say it's going to be a 3-story, 14,500 square foot multifamily apartment building?
And I don't think we should do that.
You want to leave 15?
Yeah, I think we should leave a unit count in there.
Well, but I mean, if you're proposing that to the zoning board, the zoning board's required to give you the least variance for what you're able to
Yes.
do. I mean,
Yeah,
why not lock into the 14 now?
that's fine. We can bring it down to 14, that's fine if it just, yes.
Okay.
Because if you're able to do it.
And I will point out the other changes, using Karen's memo as a guide, I went through those same factors. What this resolution does is it ratifies the findings contained in the EAF Part 2 and the EAF Part 3, which remain unchanged, based on Karen's review of this. And then the factors laid out in the negative declaration that we went through, with the view of this new detention system in place of the infiltration system, I made just a couple sentence additions on page 4 at the bottom there. That the detention plan does not change the project's impacts on land, as grading and filling on the site is not impacted, and there will not be an increase in impervious coverage. Then again, at the top of page 5, the detention plan will not change the project's impact on groundwater, because water quality treatment and attenuation will be improved from current conditions to ensure the project does not result in contamination of groundwater or the aquifer, and further, in fact, may help to alleviate the risk of flooding in the basements of nearby properties. As the board remembers, the reason why the applicant undertook this was because there was some public comment received with concerns about flooding and groundwater.
there's a mention of 10 additional units on page 5 as well. It should change to 9.
What was that, Josh?
So it also says the current apartment building contains 5 dwelling units, therefore the project will add 10 additional units. It should be 9 additional units.
Okay,
And then on the first page where it says 23 spaces will be required, we'll have to change that to 21.
Yep, good catch.
okay. And then the bottom of page, it would have been helpful if I had numbered these pages.
Yes.
Page 5, so this is number 2 on page 5. At the bottom sentence, the detention system will further improve the current conditions to decrease risk of groundwater aquifer contamination. Therefore, it is not anticipated that a significant adverse impact to wetland hydrology, water quality, habitat continuity, vegetation, or fauna will result. And the remainder of these items remain unchanged from the previous negative declaration. And so the resolved clauses, as I said, just ratify the Part 2 and Part 3, and then the findings as modified here for the negative declaration, and then continue to find that no environmental impact statement need be prepared. So that is up for the board's consideration and vote this evening after the public hearing is opened and possibly closed. The board may continue it if you'd like. I believe last time.
Now, if we close
decided
the
to
public
continue.
hearing, what does that do with the time of the ZBA? Does that affect it all? If we,
It does not affect the ZBA. The ZBA's public hearing is still
Okay, so we can hear the public, and we can
Well-
actually make a
But you-
motion.
They can't take action until.
You need to close this public hearing. Yeah.
Is that,
You have to close this public hearing in order for the ZBA to act.
gotcha.
Well, you have to finish on the seeker.
Yes.
Or, yeah.
Okay, so based on the conversation that we've just had and some of the changes that we're gonna make, can we still act on this, make a motion to adopt a negative resolution,
As we've just revised.
as you just revised?
Yes.
As long as we're making revisions.
What?
What was that?
We're making changes to that resolution. And the last time we passed this resolution, I made a motion to change it, it was not passed.
Right.
And I abstained from that vote as a result. Going to make the same suggestion, without making a motion at this point, that item 5, the second sentence that says, "Additionally, the proposed design of the structure is consistent and compatible with surrounding neighborhood character, design, and architectural aesthetics." I don't agree with that, and I don't think it's necessary. I think for seeker's sake, if you look at what seeker's calling for, it doesn't ask for that. Seeker's very specific. Seeker necessarily is very objective. It's a very subjective statement. It's not a subjective judgment that seeker asks us to make. It's really talks specifically to
Community plans and goals.
specific adopted land uses, specific uses in the zone, things like that. It does not make that, it doesn't require us to make a subjective judgment about the character of the neighborhood. I do not think it meets the character of the neighborhood. If we don't strike that, I'll vote no this time, might as well, it's a difference. But anyhow, does anybody, I'll make a motion based on that, unless you have an opinion on that.
Well, yeah, I'd love to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a required component?
Well, it does speak to, this item, number 5, does speak to aesthetic resources of the existing community and neighborhood character.
Yeah, but when you look at the EAF and what it's asking specifically in that regard, it does not specifically say it matches the character of the neighborhood. It kind of calls out these specific items about.
So you agree with the first sentence,
I
just
do.
not the second
I
sentence?
do. I'm okay with the first sentence. I think the first sentence is sufficient to satisfy seeker.
I think that's true.
Okay, that's,
Then I'd like to make a motion to strike the second sentence from item 5.
Okay,
I'll
he's gonna-
second it.
He's going to strike, which sentence?
I got it.
Do you see the sentence? Lou?
Sorry?
Do you see the sentence he's talking about?
Yes, I do.
Right here, it's additionally.
Yeah. Let me read this.
We have a motion and a second, you should vote.
Let me read the sentence first.
Sure.
Okay, I'm good with that. Aye.
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 Motion passes.
Are we voting on the negative deck now, or?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask Hannah. Should we hear from the public first before we vote, or should we vote?
Well, in case you don't make any
Okay.
provisions as a result of comments.
Okay. The public meeting is still open. What I would ask everyone is, in order for the PA system to catch everything and for Amanda to be able to transcribe the minutes, please come to the podium, speak it. There's a microphone on the podium. That works fine. And please just direct your comments to the board. If someone in the audience happens to say something out loud, please don't turn around and engage in any conversation with them. Just engage with the board. I appreciate that. Anybody have anything from the public they'd like to discuss at 48 East Main Street? Steve? Please come up and state your name and address, please.
Steve Walsh, 11 Spring Street. One of the past meetings, there was an issue brought up about the stormwater, that it would be a detention system with a slow release to the brook. And it was said that the pipe to go to the brook would go through the village right away. And my question is that legal for a private project for the village to allow access to their right-of-way? I just, that made me wonder, you know? I mean, if I wanted to direct my downspouts from my house over to the brook, could I dig a hole across the road and dump it into the brook? I doubt if they'd let me do that, you know? Anyway, that's my concern. So it's something just to think about. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have an opinion on that? On the,
I think they'll need approvals, and I assume this should be a condition of the approval, is that such approvals are obtained if necessary.
so that would go back to the village board for ultimate approval? Or is that
What's that now?
for the use of the right-of-way for stormwater?
That would have to go back to the village board?
I believe it's the village board.
Or is it the water department? Or the water board?
It would be the village board, as the owner of the right-of-way. So potentially, if they need some sort of drainage easement, they need to obtain that as a condition of any approval.
And I think Karen mentioned that in her previous comments.
Okay, so we want to make sure we capture that then in
As
the,
a-
probably in the site plan, right? We have to prove
Yes.
it? Okay.
Ed?
Ed Bartow, 13 Spring Street. I understand they're going from 15 units to 14 units, but they're adding another bedroom. So now instead of going to 15 bedrooms, you're going to have 16 bedrooms. That could possibly make it more parking spaces that they need, because you're going to have more people in the apartment. And the second thing I just wanted to bring up is that Everett White on Facebook said that because of the fire here, you cannot run multiple hydrants on the same hydrant line or water main without experiencing significant pressure loss. If something happens in any of one of these buildings up here, we could have the same problem they had with the fire at CVS, which means now you're relying on outside companies to come and pump water, and that's time wasted as far as having an apartment building. So if you just take that in consideration.
I did a little bit of research on this, just like everybody else. I'm sure a lot of residents in the village are wondering about the water issue, the hydrant issue. So what we have here in the village is we have a tank on Reservoir Road. It's a huge tank, it holds thousands and thousands of gallons. That is both potable water. The potable water and the fire hydrant water is the same water. It's one line. We don't have an independent line like New York City might have, where they can suck endless amounts of, copious amounts of water out of the Hudson. All our firefighting water and potable water come from Reservoir Road in that tank. All our wells on Baxter, Upper Baxter, Lower Baxter, Umshide, there's a well on Reservoir. All our potable water wells supply that tank. When there's a fire and we have to use a fire hydrant, it's all one main.
Right.
It's all going to go to a particular fire hydrant. You open up another fire hydrant down the line, it's going to take away from that hydrant because it's the same thing. Similar to if you're in your house and you're in the shower and your wife says, I'm taking a shower, don't do laundry, because you're going to have a drop in pressure. That's how this system is.
Okay. So that needs to be taken into consideration then, because if, like I said, if, God forbid, if one of these apartments is on fire and it spreads to another apartment, now you're talking about multiple people
I
being
had
affected.
a very long conversation with the fire chief today, anticipating this question. And the last time they used the fire hydrants, I tell you, I forgot what date it was, but it was many, many, many years ago. It's a rare incident that we have such a huge fire.
But it can happen.
It could happen, but what are we going to do? I mean, we certainly don't have the infrastructure to have
Right. So do we have the infrastructure
water
to?
to fight a fire and water to have potable. They could have drained they could have continued to drain that water right down to, that tank right down to nothing, and you would have had no potable water. There could have been a good possibility that the lines could have collapsed because they would have been empty. And when they're recharged again, the pressure could have, and then we could have had multiple issues.
Okay.
So after I did some research, speaking to a number of people, I was satisfied with the way the fire was handled. They called in multiple,
Right.
and we all know that they called in multiple
Yeah.
fire departments, and they have this system where they set up sort of like a pool. I would call it a pool, where they suck water out. The equipment that we have in the village right now, they have tankers and fire engines that hold thousands and thousands of gallons. That can put down a structure fire. This was just a very, very unfortunate incident. And there are no municipalities in the area that have a water suppression system that can handle a fire like this. No village does, not in this area.
I'm just pointing out the fact that you're adding another building that could possibly, something could happen to, and now you're talking tenants rather than, whatever, the storage.
There are a number of big parcels in the village that could be developed, and it's always a concern.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Anybody else? Okay, at this time, I'd make a motion to close the public.
Before you get
Yeah,
that,
Sarah?
were any written comments received?
I have not received any.
Thank
So,
you.
and why don't- yeah, we'll make the motion, right?
Okay,
You had-
yeah, go ahead, you can do that.
I-
I want to keep you on your toes.
Thanks. I move we close the public comment period for 48 East Main Street.
48 East Main. Mark,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the next up is the neg deck, right?
Next up is the neck deck, right. Now, I'm going to turn it back over to Hannah for a second. With everything that we discussed this evening and the revisions that we're going to make to the neck deck, how should we make this motion to put up a vote?
Well, we've amended, unless Kurt wants to, are you trying to say something, Kurt?
No, just
Okay, you're just
standing
here
here.
to be here. So the changes have been made. We went through and we modified the unit count, the space count, and a couple other instances throughout, including the modification to number 5 on page whatever that is. And so at this point, this resolution is prepared for the board to vote upon, and I think based on the comments that we've received, which in my view, and the board should decide, I think are comments that have been received before and addressed by the planner and engineer, and based on the changes of the infiltration system to the detention system and the memo, and really the combination of all the information that has been discussed and received and reviewed by the board, I think you're in a position to vote on this resolution now, if you're prepared to do so.
I am, yep. Want to make that motion, Josh?
Sure. I move that we accept the negative declaration as amended during today's meeting for 48 East Main.
My second.
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Mike and myself.
So now seeker is concluded unless any other changes are going to be brought up by the applicant. So I think at this point, the ZBA is in a position to move based on all of the other conversations that you've been having with them. But seeker is concluded.
Okay,
That's good.
thank you.
Thank you.
And that's, by the way, right, that's not a site plan approval, and it's not a special use permit approval at this point. That still is to come.
right, good evening, everyone. The next item on our agenda is the application located at 15 Memorial Avenue. And I see the applicants are here. If you could introduce yourselves before we start.
Good evening, Mary Langan from O'Neill Langan Architects. I'm the architect.
So we've got air conditioners running. Can you speak up
I'm
and speak
sorry.
to the microphone, please?
Did you hear me? Dave Daniels, the applicant?
You're
Yes.
not covering the microphone, are you, Mary? Where your computer?
I'm here. Oh. No, it's here, right? Yeah. Mary Langan, O'Neill Langan Architects.
Thank you.
Evan Hamilton, Insight Engineering, Civil Engineering.
And I'm Megan Daniels.
Okay.
Okay. We are here to present 15 Memorial Avenue. It is the project that we presented back to you in May. We are presenting the project again this evening. We have not changed the design. We have split the design into two phases, which I will review with you briefly. So Site Plan 100 shows the design as we presented it in May. It shows the development of the yard at the rear of Chapman House. And we are continuing with the development of the pool, the accessory building, which will contain a fitness room, a sauna, an accessible bathroom, and a pool equipment room. We will also be adding a hot tub, a cold plunge, fire pits in the rear, an accessible route that will lead up from the rear parking lot to that pool area that will be fenced in. And we will also be, as part of this Phase 1 development, we will be extending the rear parking lot and pushing it back toward the rear yard, which was what we presented to you in May. We will maintain the accessible parking space that is currently at Chapman House. And we will maintain the accessible aisle that is next to it and the one space that is next to it. And we will be adding the 6 spaces that will be at the retaining wall, which will be pushed further back toward the rear yard as part of this Phase 1, okay? We can go to Site Plan 2, which will show Phase 2. As part of Phase 2, we will still seek to put an addition onto the building, a modest addition of 270 square feet. That will be as part of Phase 2. And we will also, as part of that proposal, we will seek to have the curb cut from the Main Street extension, and we will turn the parking so that it is perpendicular to the 19 Memorial lot line, which is what we also presented to you in May, okay? So we have kind of taken the site plan and we're showing it to you in the two phases that we would like to explore for the project here. And now I would like to show you our way of travel plan, which we have prepared to discuss with you this evening. And Meg will be pointing out to you to explain this to you. Okay, so you can see on this plan that we've prepared, and as we all know and live and travel around Pauling, the Main Street extension has been used by the public, and the public use has been established over decades here. From Main Street, the public drives up through the Main Street extension, comes up in through that street, up past the McGrath's, past Vinnie's Deli, past the card store, and the apartments there. There's a sidewalk there, and they come up into that space, they drive up through it, they turn around, and they come back down, and as you can see, they park along that street, and they go into Vinnie's Deli and the other businesses there. They also walk down that sidewalk and then travel down toward Main Street. So that is become a street that people use, in effect, as a cul-de-sac, if you will. They also go up that street and come up, as you can see, and go up toward the upper CVS parking lot, whereas there is an established curb cut up there, which is similar to the curb cut that we are seeking from that street to our property. Okay? So I think you're pointing to that one, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the curb cut.
Yeah.
This is the-
And you can also see from this diagram we've prepared that you can kind of loop around from this Main Street extension up through this area and then into that upper CVS parking lot and back down through CVS and vice versa. So this public use has been an established route over decades of use in Pauling.
I just want to clarify, so is it your position that this entire area, including the CVS parking lot, constitutes a public street?
This street that we're showing, the Main Street.
Could I just ask that we be able to finish our presentation, just to get through it? Because I think we sort of have, and we'd be happy to answer questions, but we will, that's not our position, though. Not that the CVS parking lot is private property, as everybody knows.
Yeah.
But you're, okay.
Yeah, we're really showing the lane that leads to where our curb cut would be. We're showing that route, okay? And that the established public use here, okay? We're also showing on this diagram the sidewalk. We're showing the stairs that have been maintained toward Vinnie's Deli. We've also established that on any given day, there's 120 to 190 people coming in and out of Vinnie's Deli. 80% of them are coming in cars. They cannot pull into Vinnie's Deli and park. They cannot come in and parallel park along that curb line there. They have to come in and turn around and then park, as you see in the diagram as we show. They have to park, head out facing toward Main Street to get out of that lot there, or those parking spaces there. There's also established dumpsters there. There's established walkways there. So in fact, that is a public thoroughfare there. It's not only a vehicle street, it's also a pedestrian street there. So that's the purpose of the diagram here, the way of travel plan that we're showing this evening. Anything you want to add?
No, I mean, the only thing I would say is that the village attorney had made a comment about basically this being a parking lot with a driveway. And there's I think it's sort of obvious that that's not what it is. There is obviously access to the village hall, which is a multiple-use building, but that goes along, the road goes along the village hall and extends, and actually the parking for the village ends. You can see where the red hash lines are, and then beyond that, the road continues, and it continues up into the property of JDGS, which people use frequently. And the reason we're showing the private property is that's how it's evolved. And, CVS has been used by the public for, as long as I can remember, more than 70, 80 years. The Grand Union was there, and it's become a cohesive thing. I mean, CVS now doesn't allow the access, the parking that they used to, so it's now even more important to have the flow and to have the parking and to, basically have it be, and the 15 Memorial property that we own, that's always had a gate. There's a curb cut, as Mary said, at the JDGS lot. That was back in the day. I don't know the history of it, but the village maintains that portion of the road, and that makes it very similar to the case actually that the village attorney was talking about, where there was a dead-end street, which is essentially what you have here. We have about 50 feet or so of frontage along that street, and we don't have any other access other than through a private easement that's been in place for 150 years, which is a legal easement, but as we discussed at the last meeting, it's not optimal. The opening is somewhat narrow. It's not very inviting when cars travel down from Smith Street. Every property in the village is allowed to have public access to a street. A private easement is not that. So the statement by the village attorney that we should find a secondary access, there is none. Everybody knows that Memorial Avenue is it would be completely impractical to try to put a driveway there. So we're just looking for access for a very modest permitted use, to basically improve the amenities that we offer at the Chapman House, improve the experience for people coming into the village. We're bringing, thousands of people into the village. We're bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars for the local businesses, and we would hope that the village would. We're not looking for anything special. We're just looking for preserving our rights and getting what any property owner would be entitled to, so that we can then have a business that is going to promote the local economy and create a nice experience for people to come.
I mean, access and frontage is also provided along with the Memorial Avenue.
That's impossible.
The slope from the
and
street.
that's been well established. We've litigated that issue. There's no possibility of a curb cut on Memorial Avenue,
But
which
you
is
do
why.
have an existing curb cut. It's just not suitable for.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
What about the easement? There is an access.
That's a private easement. That is not. Case law is well established that a private easement does not suffice in terms of the right of a property owner to have public
Well,
access.
I think the rub is that I believe the village's position, and this can be confirmed at the village board level, is that it is not in fact a street. So I think that the premise under which the assumption is made that you can have a driveway permit into a governmental parking lot, essentially, I think would be incorrect.
Right. Well, with all due respect, it's not the village board's decision. This will be the planning. I mean, to us, I think it's obvious what it is, and the position you took in your memo, I think you omitted many facts that were presented in our memo, which was surprising that you didn't even try to differentiate from what we had stated. But nevertheless, I think it's clear. It'll be up to the planning board to decide. They can, when there's a situation where there's clearly a public street here. It's been here for 30, 40 years, and I think the members of the board here you've been around for a long time. You know what it is. But if there is a question, it'll go to the building inspector,
Well, surely.
and then it'll
public
go to the
access.
Can I finish?
Of course, please,
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah. And then we'll go through the process. But it really, it shouldn't be. It sounds like you have been conferring with the village board, which is fine. I mean, but really, the process is the building inspector interprets the law, and this is not a proprietary parking lot for Village Hall. It never has been. It never will be. And that's just
Well, it's owned in the name of the village. The village holds
yeah, it's
fee
owned,
title
but
to
that's
it.
irrelevant.
And it's owned and put to a governmental purpose, which means that it is immune from claims of adverse possession or prescription.
Under your incorrect statement of the facts, where you're ignoring the fact that the roadway continues beyond what you're calling the village lot, which is really just village parking spaces that are part of this road, which begins at East Main Street, travels up. So you can have your opinion, but you're not addressing actually the facts.
Well,
And I don't but again, I don't really want to debate it. I just, it is what it is, and I don't.
My position is that I believe that this is a factual and legal question that I don't believe this board is empowered to determine.
Right, well, that was going to be my question, right? So my understanding is like a curb cut would be the decision of the village board.
So a curb
No,
cut
that's
would
not
be
correct.
the decision of the planning
Planning
board
board.
and the building inspector. But only the village board is empowered to create public streets or accept new public streets.
That is not true. That is absolutely not true. This street was created by prescription. It was created by the actions of the village. The has what they've done, they've done. It was done 30 years ago. They laid out
The question is whether it's a street or not.
this property was part of the Albermac Theater building, and when the Lamorts took it over, they either sold it or gave it to the village as part of what they did, and it was laid out so that it could continue to be used by them. Obviously, they wouldn't have done it if they couldn't use it. They didn't do it so that the village could have a parking lot. That's just not true. And what kind of bothers me is that, we laid out the facts, and the fact you guys did not address the facts, and that's troubling. And maybe that was coming, maybe that was.
I don't believe I've seen that memo that you've submitted. I know we did the conference a month ago or 2 months ago, but I don't think, did we?
Yes.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had detailed all the
All right, I'll go back and look.
case of that.
Yes, it was in
Yeah, I think we saw it the first time I saw it was a couple of days ago.
No, I mean yours.
what we submitted.
Oh, no, but the letter from,
Yeah, he was asking about your letter.
no.
So I saw the opinion of the attorneys,
Yeah.
but if you drafted a long form,
Yeah, that was in the end of May.
The initial submittal had
Did we see
your
it?
argument.
Yeah, I explained,
We have that.
I laid this all out.
but I remember you doing it in person.
Yeah, but I also put it in writing because
Okay.
you asked me to.
Okay,
And-
It was circulated.
okay.
Yeah, and I'm not going to repeat myself, but again, it is what it is, and we would ask that you just look at what we presented and give it a fair look. It is within your jurisdiction to issue a driveway permit if you decide that it's clear that it's a public street, which I don't think there's any doubt that it is.
So who decides then whether this is a public street or not?
It's my opinion that it would be up to either the village board or the court.
How could the village board make that decision? It's the building inspector. I mean, that's just not, the village board has no, I mean, they could dedicate it, but this is a street by prescription. There's no, what's done is done. Once it's a street by prescription, the village board has no authority to limit that right. That's black letter law.
Well, there's no contest that there's public access to this area. The question is not whether there's public access. Clearly there is. The question is whether it's a street or whether it's a parking lot. And just because there are drive
It's not a
aisles where
parking
people
lot.
are maneuvering there. Can I
It's
finish,
just
please?
a
Can I finish, please, my statement?
Yeah.
Thank you. Just because there's mobility around the drive aisles doesn't mean that it's automatically a street.
Okay. I've said what I've said.
We understand that you disagree.
Yeah,
We understand that you disagree.
You've said what you've said, and there's nothing new that really is being added here, I don't think. And again, I would just ask, this is within the jurisdiction of the planning board to decide that you can issue a driveway permit, you're given that jurisdiction. This is overwhelmingly clear, and I would just hope that we wouldn't have to go through this process. All it's going to do is delay our project, and it's going to be,
If you feel that you're entitled to a curb cut and driveway access, then maybe you should seek interpretation from the building inspector. Why haven't you done that?
because I believe, and I continue to believe, that it was clear that this is a public street. I didn't think there would be a debate about that, honestly.
I think it is now clear that that is not clear.
Well, the reasons you've given are not rational. So,
Oh, because there's a disagreement about the application of the law?
no, because you haven't. You're saying it's a parking lot for the village. We gave you 10 different reasons why it's so much more than that, and you have nothing to say to it other than you keep repeating that.
No, the basis of your argument is that it is in fact a street. That it was laid out as a street, it is a street, and it's become a street by prescription.
Okay, I thank you.
I have a
Any
question.
questions to the board?
And I don't know who this is for, but just, if it's not a street, is that make a curb cut a non-starter?
Yes.
Absolutely. You cannot make a, okay.
Unless there is some sort of private access easement given to the project from the village.
Oh, they absolutely could do it. They absolutely could.
But they would have to give the private, I just want to be clear on how that works.
They gave it to CBS,
Right.
25 years ago. For whatever reason, I guess the village board doesn't think it's a good idea to give it to us.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they would say that. I mean, if
Yeah, I've heard.
Laid out, and, you know, and it's basically, you're giving this to one person, and you're not giving it to another, and there's a constitutional right, and you're wanting to do is take it away. And you know, again, there's a process, and if we have to follow the process, we'll follow the process. But I just think it's unfortunate under these circumstances where it's like black is not black and white is not white. That's how I feel. It feels like we're in the twilight zone, quite honestly.
So, but the next step there is to engage the building inspector. Is that right?
It doesn't have to be. You guys, if you guys decide that if you don't buy what we're saying, yeah, we'll go to the building inspector.
Yeah, personally, I'll say don't qualify. I don't think to make a judgment. We have two lawyers talking, and you have different opinions. I'm not comfortable weighing in on that. So
Listen,
yeah.
I understand. I understand that.
But could you explain the definition of street versus parking lot?
Before you do that, just real quick, is this drawing that you're presenting, is this here, or do we have a copy of this yet? This is for presentation only. Can we get a copy of this?
We added this.
We did receive, no, that's not, this plan, the traveling plan.
Yeah, it's the third one.
Oh, it's the third
Yeah,
page? I apologize.
yeah, we added it,
All right, thank you.
yeah.
Can I go back and ask a question about Phase 1, a little less controversial? The pool, hot tub, cold plunge, gym, all that stuff, this is all for the use exclusively of the guests at the hotel?
Chapman House.
It's
No,
for,
and the Station Inn.
and the
Yes.
Station Inn both?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
how many rooms in the Station Inn?
Well, there's 16 rooms total, and the three, we have the apartments at One Memorial, and we have the 10 rooms at 7, and then we have four suites in the Chatham House.
So is it 30? Is that what I just did the math right? So whatever, so that's okay. I was just wondering,
Yeah, I mean,
who's going to
our
use this
average-
thing? It was,
our
it was just,
Our average occupancy is running around 50%, so
Okay.
it's not.
and there's no, like, intent to use this for other access in the future? It's strictly for the use of the guests and their guests, I suppose?
Well, we have a plan to put in a small bar and restaurant.
Right.
And the patrons could sit out there, and, but the pool for swimming is going to be limited to hotel guests, it has to be, because otherwise we need a.
Okay.
lifeguard.
All right, thank you.
So, also going back to this, so one of the concerns I brought up during our conference, I was concerned about the noise. You're adjacent to residential properties, and so I was concerned both about the pool equipment noise that we're moving to the property line, and also potentially sort of what the usage patterns there look like. So I'd love to understand a little bit more about what you're putting there, what you expect in terms of noise, and may even want that to be part of the final site plan, like hours of use for the pool, things like that, so that the neighbors are in a position to enjoy their space as well.
Sure. I mean, we have, I think this is kind of similar to the O'Connor situation in terms of how you guys handled that. I'm not somewhat familiar with that.
That's
And-
before my time, I'm afraid, but
Oh,
I'm
well,
happy to defer to others.
But, we're going to abide by the noise, there's a noise ordinance, and I'm not a pool equipment expert. I was up at Deerfield Ponds the other day, and I was looking around, and they have, and I understand there's some noise, and we.
Well, I'd really like you to engage somebody that is an expert and tell us what that's going to look like.
No, we are, of course.
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna,
All right.
I think if you guys are gonna put a condition on whatever, whatever condition, so that it's not gonna disturb the neighbors, and of course, yeah.
Right, but like you, I'm not a pool expert. I'd love you to come and propose something rather than, us say 45 decibels or, something absurd that can't be met with any existing equipment.
Well, there's a
right?
noise ordinance in the village already. You don't need to, to me, I think you probably you've done it before. You just impose conditions that you have to comply with the noise ordinance. Anybody else? I mean, and again, we can look into and I did hear what you said, and I have been thinking about it, and we're obviously, we understand that there's going to be conditions that it can't be noisy.
Well, this is literally somebody's backyard, right? If they have, a chair there, a table there, or something that they want to enjoy there, you're going to be right up against the property line. If there's going to be a loud pump in there, that may be something we want to explore beyond just the noise ordinance.
Yeah, but
We want to explore just it's a source of annoyance that we might be able to prevent with better site planning or something like that, right? So that's why it comes up for me. We don't want to devalue the property next door. At the same time, I mean, love the plan. I mean, clearly this is valuable for the village. I mean, I'm kind of excited about it. But I just want to make sure that we're not introducing more friction points that we need to, especially when everything now is just lines on paper and could potentially be changed.
We're all about, we have, you know, that's our building right there, and, you know, we're on it. When people, we do not ever want to disturb the neighbors. There have been isolated instances where people complain, and we take care of it because, you know, we live here and we don't want that. And, you know,
Sure.
so what you're saying is, I'm not, like I said, we'll look into it. It hasn't been something that percolated to the point where, but I was thinking about you when I was at Deerfield and I was listening.
I appreciate that.
You know,
I might add that the intent is that the pool equipment is within the building as well. So
Sure.
that adds to the baffling of it.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what that looks like. Let's make sure that we're not introducing another point of friction, especially if we can move it this way or that way, or extra baffling, or, you know, something like that. But otherwise, I mean, I like it. I didn't know about having folks from the sort of wine bar actually go to the pool or near, like, explore the outside area.
Look, that's a good point. And you know, I haven't really thought that through, but it's got to be in compliance with the health department regulations and kind of what they dictate. If people, you know, there's going to be fences there, so maybe that's not practical. It's not a you know, like a game changer for us.
I mean, I could certainly see the appeal on a nice night,
Yeah, I mean, just
but
want
I
to make it
think that
nice.
probably opens more questions than it answers at this point. I mean, crosswalks, I mean, like all sorts of things.
Yeah, the usage of the pool is for the guests.
Right.
And it's got to be that way for the.
Right, you explain that. Insurance companies and lawyers rule the world. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. There's equipment mufflers and things for pumps like that. They can do, that's, I'm not concerned.
Right, but we'd want to make that a
Absolutely,
condition of.
absolutely.
So that's why.
I have a couple questions. One, I think you're going to address, if you haven't already, is just the phasing and the parking. I want to understand that better, especially with Phase 2. There's going to be outside guests that can come in and benefit. Legally, I'm going to ask my attorneys, what I want to understand better is when I first looked at this, I saw it as a shared common driveway access. I know you brought it out how it's almost like a flag parking lot type access. The legal definition from that versus a public road or a historic public road. So that's the one thing I would like to understand a little bit better. So if there is legally a difference between the two. Like a shared common driveway, because I look at this, there's multiple properties, and if you're saying it's a driveway access to a rear parking lot, or, as he pointed out, it's a historic public road, to whatever degree that might be. So I kind of want to understand that a little bit better, so.
Do we want to take a few minutes and go do that? Because I don't know that we can do that outside of here.
No, I mean, I think they would have to look for that, right? Definitely.
I think we have sort of a solution, because, you know, we kind of anticipated, because of the sort of the unequivocal nature of that letter, that this is where we were going to be, which is why we, you know, redid our plan, so that we could move forward with the part that doesn't require this issue to be resolved as part of that. So the idea would be, we're going to do some additional paving, but we're adding 2 additional spaces. We'll keep the existing access, you know, through Smith Street, through that easement, and then we'll go to the building inspector, and whatever the building inspector says, either he says it is a street, or if so, then, you know, the village, maybe the board wants to appeal it. If he says it is, then, if he says it isn't, then we'll likely appeal it, and then there'll be a decision from the ZBA, and, you know, hopefully it gets resolved. So we want to move forward with the project,
Yeah,
one way or the other, and
so you brought new documents tonight to present. I'd like you to finish, or at least feel that you finished your presentation. Obviously, Lou, I don't want to cut you off. I thought you might have said something.
I'm still listening.
All right, and so I'd like you to finish that. I think I would like to just temporarily move past the road, street, common drive, shared driveway, whatever this issue is by definition, and let them finish their presentation because they provided us drawings, so we can go from there.
Thank you. I mean, the other thing that, from our perspective, this is a type 2 action under seeker. It's less than 4,000 square feet of a non-residential, even though it's a hotel. Seeker defines a hotel to be a non-residential use. And if you have less than 4,000 square feet of development within this is permitted use, there's no zoning change. It's a type 2. So we think that part of it can be move forward on that if it's the pleasure of the board, obviously. But and then we really didn't do. We intentionally kept it exact. What we're doing is nothing you haven't seen before. We're not changing anything in phase 1. We're just omitting some things.
Okay.
Because we didn't want to complicate things in terms of the process, because we frankly want to get going.
Are you proposing separating the phases? So we would approve just phase 1?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And there's no, we're absolutely not tying those together, or we're not going to make any argument that because you approve this, you somehow have, weaken whatever arguments might ultimately come up on the, but we want to be able to pursue that, and if we do, get that approval, then we'd like to, go to phase 2 and do that, and then that kind of puts everything on more of a, even keel, so to speak, hopefully.
So just to be clear, the new drawing, previously you provided the other two, phase 1, phase 2, so the new drawing information is really the circulation plan?
Is really bad.
Is this circulation plan? This is the new drawing for the application?
Well,
There's really nothing new here. It's just we're breaking it into 2 segments. The first segment is this stuff, and blowing up removing retaining wall back, and putting pavement in. That was all part of the original plan. But if you look at the phase 2 and you look at the things that are circled, those are the things that were in the original plan, but we're not going to do those until phase 2.
Right.
And until we, hopefully get approval on the driveway permit. If not, then we'll have to go back to the drawing.
So my first reaction is before we move on, we really have to settle this issue. And so we have new information and they're going to you provided your comments. I'm assuming you may or may not want to respond to that.
I think he just said the
attorneys.
opposite, right?
Yes.
He's going to propose phase 1.
Without
So phase 2
the curb cut.
is just, I guess we'd call it background information for us on what might happen. Think about it as a sketch conference for a future thing, I guess.
You have to review the project as a whole.
Yeah, so you can't do segmentation.
So, you still have to review the project as a whole, but you can do phase development. The seeker would have to be done on the entirety of the development,
Okay.
but the approvals can happen one before the other, essentially.
And unless I'm missing something, it's type 2, so there is no seeker. I mean, again, I don't
Well,
know.
I'd recommend letting Karen take a look at that and review this, and entertain her opinion on that.
She hasn't looked at it?
We do not have
She
their,
hasn't done a review memo on it yet, I believe.
we don't have their comments yet.
I thought that's why we adjourned the meeting.
I believe-
We were pushing.
My understanding was that we wanted to hear from the legal input before they spent any money on it and give their review comments. So that was my understanding.
Mayor Wilson, Karen, she's not here.
Yeah, but I believe that was it. We did not want the consultants to do a full
She typically advises the board on-
review. So,
I understand that typically Karen would have responded, so I can appreciate that she waited, and that's fine. But I do think it's a type 2. I would like to, it's been, again, just want to look at it again. I know it takes time. We're not, we're just, but it is a permitted use. It's really a very, modest use, we think, relative to the size of this lot. It's one of the largest lots in the village. We're not proposing, 3-story apartment building or anything else, and just kind of hoping that this would be a pretty easy process. And we're trying to work. We got a little hiccup here, a little bump in the road, and we're trying to deal with it.
we have the definitions for what constitutes type 2 in front of us today that we could talk about, or do we really need Karen's?
I would recommend allowing Karen
Okay.
to review as is the typical process and advise. We can of course pull up the type 2 list.
C9.
However, part of the square footage that we use into it.
Okay.
And there are additional sections that could apply as well, like even under the type 2 list, there are other sections that apply. I would say 12, probably if there's going to be a pool, and probably,
No, so that's residential.
All right, I think there's enough said, though, to say that we're not prepared.
No, I
So-
understand that.
so we'll-
And I am now hearing why she didn't look at it. She was trying not to run up the bill.
So we'll need, I guess,
So
Well, now, we have a response from our attorney.
yeah, on the
about-
driveway cut, right.
Right. Number two, even for Phase 1, there's parking and access issues, but I believe what they have is,
I have another
Kirk
question, actually. Can I ask you another question right now, too, about the access? Because it got, on Phase 1, forget Phase 2, and the pool is accessible again by the guests at all the various inns. How are they getting there? Is it just walking whatever sidewalk and whatever works?
It's literally.
It's right around the corner.
feet. I mean,
All right.
it's like we put a walkway in, I walk there all the time from Vinnie's. I go to,
Yeah,
you walk around. It's a nice circulation pattern, it's very pleasant.
okay, so there's no special consideration for how that would happen.
Walkway, and there's actually a walk, Vito, the wards have said that we could use their backyards for people to walk from the inn, so they can come through there, and we have plenty of,
Okay.
non-paper ways that people can live there.
Just a question.
and
All right, so
again, the only other question I have too is the point of which you referred to as an existing curb cut to the CVS, or the rear property to CVS, the back lot. So I'm just back here. It's because
Yeah, I
the
think
point
that's-
being made that there's an existing curb cut in the back, if that's what that is defined.
So
The point is that it's
Well, there's the connecting drives.
violation.
The connecting drives,
You're giving one neighbor
So, I mean, I don't know if that was something addressed in this or
I
not.
don't know who established that.
Yeah, that's,
How'd that get there? Did the
the
village put
village had
that?
to have done it.
Did the village put that in?
That road,
We're talking about the little ramp coming down.
Yeah.
that's the village's property. That road is the village's property, that ramp is the village maintains it, always has. And
All the way up
they
to
gave-
that.
It doesn't matter why they did it, and it's now a curb cut, I don't know why. I didn't know any of this was gonna happen, but it's there. And now I'm next door, and I want one too, and I'm entitled to it. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, I don't mean to be, but you're giving it to one property owner, they don't even need it. They have plenty of other ways to get to the property, I need it. And so I don't mean to get,
Yeah, so-
but it's a little
So,
frustrating.
so Rob, I'd really like a private session with our attorneys, an executive session with our attorneys regarding this memo. I don't know that we need to do it now and keep all these people, but
Yeah, I
I'd certainly
mean-
like to do it at some point tonight.
I would like to afford our attorneys the same respect I afforded Dave when he sat in their positions right now. So it's their legal opinion that they have to determine if that's a road or it's not a road. Okay? Karen is not here for Phase 1. I want more professional advice, Phase 1, Phase 2, phases, whatever.
Sure.
So I think tonight we gathered information. The attorneys submitted their documentation. Let's let the experts deal with it
Lou,
at this point.
if I could just say,
Yep.
all we're looking for, there's no more discussion needed because we're going to go to the building. You guys will not have to deal with the road issue. I mean, if you want to, you can, but the only thing that you would do is decide in our favor on that, and I don't think that's going to happen. So I think we're just going to go to the building inspector. But what I don't want is we intentionally broke this up into two phases so you wouldn't do what you're talking about. We don't want it to get complicated. We basically you know, we think we're entitled to it, but we understand that, you know, the attorneys are saying no. Their work's done. I mean, they've done it. They basically, now we have to go in a different direction, which we're doing. But I don't want to hold up. You have our plan. You've had our plan for 2 months. We cut out half of it. It's now the same plan that you've had for 2 months. It's a permitted use. It's a type 2 action. And I know you need to verify that with Karen, but I would ask you respectfully to just, you know, get the secret thing resolved and whatever we need to do. If there is if it's unlisted, we'll whatever. But then schedule a public hearing so that we can, you know, hear from the public and hopefully get it approved. There's no, it's a permitted use. It's a swimming pool. We're going to the health department. We're getting a permit. You know, it's.
So when is Karen back? Karen's out, right?
Yeah, she's
Yep.
on vacation.
Back for the next meeting.
Be back next week.
Yeah.
So we can put this
We'll
on our
have their
plate.
input
She
then.
was just waiting
Okay.
for their correspondence.
But we can still ask her to do the review
Yes.
regardless of their opinion, right?
I'm sorry?
We're going to ask her to
Yeah,
do
she
the.
can review.
She's doing
She can review things. Yeah,
it was
definitely.
just she had
Yeah.
this time, she told me she was going to miss this week in April.
Okay. So she'll begin that next week?
Yeah.
It's probably already
And then-
begun. Yeah. She won't, yeah.
So the seeker piece, type 2 or not, needs to address both phases. But then, assuming we get by that next time,
And one thing I'll just add, because type 2 list includes interpretation of the zoning, which is what we're doing. And it also includes the other variance that we're looking for is a setback variance. So under 39, C39 and C37, I think it is, those are both type 2. So it's not going to change the secret.
okay.
Well, you said a pool for residential is type 2, but you're saying the hotel is commercial, right?
Yeah, and it's a structure, pool, it's within the 4,000-foot structure definition of C39.
We'll check into that.
Again, yeah, that we'll have that resolved next time, and at which point we'd be able to do whatever we're going to do with that, and then potentially consider a site plan for phase 1 as a separate site plan. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're asking, is to move that, to keep that process moving and not, you know, lose too many more months for something that.
Yep. Thank you.
So again, these drawings that you presented tonight, if they haven't been, they'll be provided to Amanda so they can get to.
I have them, yeah. I'll send.
We've provided,
I have.
like, you have them, yeah.
I don't know about these specific ones that you brought for tonight, but I have all yours.
Great, well, we'll get you extra.
Yeah.
I can scan them and get them to Karen in the end
Okay.
as well.
Is there anything else in the presentation you want to add?
No, thanks very much.
Okay. All right. All right, so the next application on the agenda is 8 Charles Street. If they can step forward, the applicant, please.
Yeah.
So we're not having, you guys aren't open the public hearing for
It hasn't been sent.
No, it hasn't been set. That was, they were presenting information. That public hearing was listed on the agendas for the 8 East Main Street.
Okay, so that'll be set for you guys for what?
Well, we'll come back, we'll have to review. If we feel the application's ready for public input, then we'll set the public hearing.
You'll get a letter as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Sorry.
We're doing.
Okay, if you go ahead and introduce yourself, please, John.
Good evening. John Kalin, DC Engineering. We're here in the village. We're here tonight to discuss a new project. Client Downey Diesel is going to be seeking a special use permit for a motor vehicle repair facility over on 8 Charles Street. As you guys may or may not have seen from the drawings, there's an existing building there. It was previously used for a contractor's yard, a repair facility, typical things in keeping with what we're doing here. The parking lot's existing, the building's existing. There's no proposed improvements for either one of those, albeit perhaps a sign on the outside for his business. as we move forward with the process. That's really all there is to talk about and, you know, present to you guys. It's pretty black and white. But we did receive comments from the planner, and to that end, you know, we prepared responses to them because they were all pretty easy questions, just really informational type stuff. If the board chooses, I could read my responses now, or we could submit them at a later date.
Well, you should respond in writing, but if you want to go through any of these comments that jump out to you, you'd like to address before the board asks questions?
Yeah, I mean, everything's pretty fair. She was like poking around at, you know, what the facility is going to be used for and how it's going to be operated. Typically, a vehicle will be brought to the business, brought inside, repaired. When it's fixed, brought outside, the client comes and picks it up and, you know, it leaves, just like you would see at any other car facility. Where we are different is that there will not be 25 broken down vehicles outside the building. It's a fairly discreet operation because he's working on heavier stuff. People need those trucks. They're not going to sit around for weeks and months on end. So if a truck shows up to get fixed, it's because it's there for an appointment. It's going to be fixed, repaired, and leave. So there's no storage of any materials outside other than, you know, perhaps Owen's truck, pickup truck when he comes to work, and one of his employees, and then maybe a random truck that gets dropped off during the day or something like that. So it's pretty low key. It's a clean operation. Like I said, there's no petroleum storage there. There's no danger to the environment in any way, size, shape, or form. No gasoline pumps. It's not a painting facility, so there's not going to be any need for, you know, exhaust fans or anything like that coming out of the building. It's pretty much exactly as we see it today. Doors open, trucks go in, doors close.
So you're just going to be working on heavy equipment, heavy diesel, not your
Trucks.
standard automotive repair shop?
Yeah, trucks.
And the building as it stands right now, there was, Zach used to have a place in the back. Are you using that as well, or the whole building?
Yes, the whole
So
building.
the whole thing?
Yeah, the entire
Two
building.
big bays in the front and around back?
The front, it's a, big rectangle. And,
Right.
This is the front of the building. In the back here, there's kind of sectioned off into two separate cavities. There's a door here going in, and there's a small door here going into the side. There's a little loading dock, like a unit door right there. And there's two bay doors in the front, the manual on the side.
I knew what Zach did. What did they do in that big, the front of that building?
That's where Joe Schmidt was, and he was doing auto repair. He was a registered repair shop. He was doing auto body.
So basically, it's the same.
Doing the same thing.
Just different
and then
guys,
in between-
just different people doing it.
Yeah, and in between Schmidt and me was Bellucci, Andrew Bellucci, Core Down Drilling, and he was parking heavy trucks there. He was doing his own repairs inside, but the same kind of repairs I would be doing.
And what hours of operation going to be?
9 to 5.
9 to 5, Monday to Friday?
Monday through Friday, yeah.
Monday to Friday. And you're not doing any sandblasting or anything like that?
Absolutely not.
I don't suppose you're considering a coat of paint.
But
I don't suppose you're considering a coat of paint.
on the
Like,
building?
yeah, it's kind of looking kind of run down. The parking lot's not looking great.
Yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately, I don't own the building, but I would definitely, I like having a clean shop, so if that's something that, I would like to do in the future, yeah, I can see that happening, but, right now it's sitting vacant, so.
Fair enough.
I don't see anything going on there or anywhere in that corner of the village.
Are you planning on any signage?
Yeah, I'd like to put just a small, simple, not lit or anything, just, my business name, pretty simple.
How many guys you going to have working for you?
Currently I have 2 guys working for me, so, there's really not much more I can expand in a building like that, so that's pretty much it.
I'm sorry, is this application is for a site plan and a special use permit?
Yes, because I was told it is an industrial site, but to be a repair facility, it's a special use permit, so I'm just, trying to make sure that everything's
Excellent. And I did hear you say that this issue was black and white, and I think Mr. Daniels also said that, but I actually agree that this one is black and white. So I spoke with Karen prior to this meeting before she left town, and we did discuss seeker, and I believe that there's nothing happening with the structure, right? You're not building anything else on the building.
Literally, no.
So I think probably this is a type 2 action under subsection 18, use of a commercial structure or structure containing mixed residential and commercial uses where the residential commercial use is permitted or permitted by special use permit, which is what you're seeking. So I think in that instance, the board could determine that this was a type 2 action that doesn't need any further seeker review. I know there were some additional information we were looking for, but I see an environmental assessment form in here, which is something that Karen had marked as absent. So I think we're good on, unless this is, no, this is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sent one in.
Okay. Okay, and then these other comments, it looks like you've just really answered a lot of these as well.
Yeah, and to back that up, we have prepared a narrative outlining the questions she had. So
Great.
we're going to circulate that tonight if it's okay with everyone. So
That's great.
Owen, if you want to hand those out, give everybody a copy. That's all right. Is it over there still? Yeah, it's over there. Sorry, it's leaving its folder.
So would we declare ourselves lead agency and then handle it at the next meeting? Open and close?
I don't think we even need to be lead agency, it's just a type 2.
It's
For type 2, no
right?
lead
Yeah,
agency?
you don't have to.
Just hand those out.
And based on your conversation with our planner, that's your recommendation? Okay.
Yep, she also identified this same subsection, 617.5C18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are these answers to all of
Thank
these?
you, and then I'll scan these and give it to the planner as well. Thank you.
We'll also give you this one. There was an amendment on the, just to make sure that's supposed to be correct.
Got it. Got it.
Just the one liner that was on there.
So John, for the 10 parking spots, you said approximately, is that a standard car? Like 9 by 18?
Yeah, I mean,
or?
we did a quick analysis. Is this the one that has it? Yeah, I did a quick analysis just to show you there's actually
Right.
on paper 21 spaces out there. So a truck like the ones that's going to repair are going to fit the conventional parking space,
Okay.
but just trying to show you more than the parking for what's going to be there. You know, there'll be bigger trucks. Every now and then you'll get like a little service delivery car from Napa or FedEx or something like that to show up. Again, it's kind of lost out here. But it came with the property, so we're not going to say we don't need a parking lot.
There's no towing operation proposed, it's just.
I like your site operations where you say, what's a long-term repair, you would say, long-term indoor repairs?
So basically, a good example of that is you get a truck that blows an engine, you need an in-frame, you get it, on a tow truck, you back it in the shop, you take the motor apart, rebuild it, put it back together. It's not something you can even think about doing outside because of dirt, any of the weather and all that. But it's also a job that between ordering parts, figuring out what they want to do and everything, it's not done in 2 days.
Yeah.
It can take a month to get the whole process done. So, and like I said, the trucks are bigger, so you're not fitting 10 trucks in that building. You're fitting 2, maybe 3. So, you get a couple bigger jobs like that, because I, do a lot of that. It's in there for 2-3 weeks, a month, pull it out, and they're eager to get the truck back, so it's gone quick.
Yeah, I like it, no vehicle sales, washing, or outdoor repairs. I like everything is going to be done inside.
Anything that's outside is just going to be the truck getting dropped off and waiting for me to pull it in, or waiting,
Done and
the
get
day
ready
to
to
get
be
it picked up.
What kind of improvements are you going to be making inside the building, just out of curiosity?
Nothing really, just cleaning it up, like sweeping and everything. You don't really need much to do what I'm doing, it's just bringing the tools in and that's it.
Okay.
Question on the environmental assessment form. You answered yes to, does it contain or is substantially contiguous to a building, archaeological site, or district, which is listed on the national or state register and so on, historic places? It says yes.
Yeah, that was,
What's it near?
that's a default from the actual DEC Shorty AF form. I think it was relative, and I don't want to quote it, but maybe to the cemetery that's out back. 'Cause it does do like a fairly large footprint, you know, when it researches that. And you don't have the choice or the option to
That checks
change
off
that.
automatically.
Yeah, there's a lot of those that happen like that. So
Okay.
we just take it as it is. It's a conversation.
Cemetery makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
It didn't occur to me. What do we need to do?
And do we have any draft?
Well, I think the next step is we can vote that this is a type 2 action, and then I think probably go ahead and set the public hearing on this one.
Okay. We'll sit down.
Yeah.
All right, so,
All right, so can I
Okay.
make a motion
Even
to,
even though it's the same use, but it's just a different owner or different renter?
it's a
we have to
special
have a
use
public
permit.
hearing?
I think we're,
For a special use permit.
yeah.
For a special use permit? Okay.
so can I have a motion for set the seeker type 2
Yeah, I'll make a
resolution?
motion to declare it a type 2 action.
Second.
You set- yeah, Second?
Second, yep.
Okay.
3 seconds.
Give it a Josh.
No. Lou's more important.
Get it.
Okay, then, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And what I'd like to do is set the next meeting. Is that enough time for?
That's plenty of time. So the next thing is I will get you addresses. You have to send, and to announce the public hearing. You have to mail it out to people within a certain period.
Certified mail,
Certified mail. I'll get those addresses and the notice by the end of the week. And the public hearing will be August 11th.
We need
11th?
to actually
So
move
you have
that,
to
right?
set it.
Okay.
Just let me know when.
All right, thank you. All right, well, are you guys comfortable with the public hearing in August, on August 11th?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
I move we have a public hearing for 8 Charles Street on August 11th.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, I think that's it for this evening.
I appreciate your time, everybody.
Right, thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
We'll be in touch.
So we would be able to approve the site plan right now?
I can have a resolution of.
Yes,
approval
please do.
prepared at that
Yeah, have that
Because
prepared.
it seems pretty
All right, the next item on the application on the agenda is 157 Charles Coleman Boulevard.
Would you mind coming to the microphone?
Oh, sorry. Trying to
You
stay away.
guys were tough to hear.
Oh, all right, no, sorry.
It's okay.
All right, so I'll just introduce myself. My name's Stephen Hoyt. I'm the plant manager over at Pauline Engineered Products.
Eric Kyan, the service manager, Coleman.
Nick Labasco with C-Team Associates, the site development engineers and architects.
Oh, wait. Are you the applicant, listed as the applicant? I want to double check on that because I thought I saw that you were listed as the manager applicant, but I didn't have the owner listed.
Owner, all right.
The owner of the property.
Okay, so that would be Trelleborg City Solutions, is the owner of the property.
It's who is it?
Trelleborg City Solutions.
Trelleborg.
Trellborg.
Okay.
City Solutions.
Ceiling with not like,
Yeah,
other than the
yeah,
floor?
yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, and so we probably need an agent form of the company, it's an LLC, authorizing you as the applicant for this.
Okay.
And I think there is a form in there, and I think you even filled it out, but I think you filled it out naming yourself as the agent, which you can't do that.
Gotcha. Understood. No, that was fine.
Black and white, yeah.
All right. Okay, if you go ahead and go ahead.
So I can be long-winded and go through everything if necessary, but what I was hoping is the letter that was submitted late yesterday with responses to comments from the Labella July 9th memorandum would help to clarify our application and the scope and intent of the work. I believe, and I'm happy to go through all this, that the work is a minor enough scope of work, and I think that we've clarified enough that the environmental impacts are either not present or small enough and more related to interior work that this could potentially be listed as a type 2 action, given the very limited amount of site work necessary. One thing I would like to clarify that was written in the letter is under their proposed action, I felt there was a need to clarify that the 5th sentence as it relates to the demolition of other structures on the site is incorrect, as this is not currently part of the scope of work, and our understanding is that there is no plan of action with those buildings other than to vacate them. They are, and this is something that we've discussed with the building inspector, they are not, there is life safety concerns with them for operations and employees, but they are not in imminent danger of collapse or abandonment or any other danger to the public. And at this point, their organization is trying to determine whether there is future use for them or not. And
In your letter, did you make that statement?
yes.
Okay, all right.
Just to piggyback about this project, really the renovations is really fixing my roofs and moving my machinery over to where it needs to be. In terms of compliance, the compliance aspects will still remain the same. We're still reporting to the EPA, we're still reporting to DEC, we're still testing the waters, we're still doing everything that we're required. We're just putting more stuff in the other building. That's it. We're not really taking down any walls. We're not digging into the ground. Same building that's there, we're just moving some stuff over there. That's about it, just to make it safer for the person.
I mean, the extent of your plan on the exterior, I want to make sure I read this right, is a sidewalk and a retaining wall fix?
Yeah, and the retaining wall fix isn't even a significant retaining wall fix. It's repairing joints and cleaning it up. There's no excavations, digging, or backfilling that's going to occur with it. It's topical.
I know that the village code requires that they come to us, but, I mean, are we, do we really have to do an environmental impact study here? And
Well, this is likely a type 2 action,
Right.
because it's the same thing we just discussed for this last application. There's nothing, big structural taking place. And so, and Karen and I did discuss this as well, that it's likely a type 2 action. And she also flagged that this is one that needs to go to county for review. So we will also have to refer this to county planning for them to okay.
why?
Just my own education, that's.
Because of the
It's
type of application.
It's a site plan with proximity to their county university road and resource or something.
Oh, okay.
Locational thing.
Yeah, it says 239M, general municipal law 239M, it's a reasons.
And so, I assume.
Okay.
But we can find that this is a
Wonderful.
seeker type 2 and just,
I think we can say, ideally, because Karen laid out a list of things that she said were missing from the application, this may satisfy them, but ideally, she would take a look and make sure that these are all answered by this memo before we
well,
really make that determination.
but some of these seem wildly inappropriate. I mean, they're not making a change to the parking lot, so why do they need to update their parking order, right? Why do they need to come into compliance with new ADA regs, right?
And Karen has better answers probably than I do.
In fairness to the review, obviously I don't want to see 20 comments when I have an application, but we have a long road ahead of us with the building permit side of things. This is a pretty intense interior, not building related interior renovation, but we've got a lot of equipment in there. We've got a lot of MEP work that we're doing. And the fire sprinkler system, which is existing, will need to have minor fixture relocation and all that. And, a fair point, and why I maybe went a little bit down a rabbit hole in talking about the fire apparatus access road is that is important. And I want to make sure it's clear that we are going to comply with that, and that there is a need to talk with the fire marshal or the fire department and make sure they're comfortable with the distances, given that we have a railroad track on one side, and really there's just no way you can make that access available to a fire department without a significant amount of danger. But the requirements can be satisfied, and we are open to providing additional information. We're not looking to shortcut, but we have a long road and a lot of information to provide as part of the building permit. We felt that the site application portion was relatively straightforward. I don't even know if there's an opportunity, but I would even request, is there a way to just waive public hearings and just move
I was going to
forward?
ask why
Yeah.
do we need a site plan approval for this at all?
So we have county planning involved, so we have to declare ourselves lead agency to make the ruling.
For,
But
For-
it's a type,
for-
but it's,
Why we need a site plan in the first place.
yeah,
So-
they're renovating their existing building, they're moving things
It's
around.
in the industrial zone. It says in our code, anything changes in the industrial code
Requires
has to
site
be
plan?
reviewed from the
Right.
planning board.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know exactly where it is in the code, but we read it twice today.
Okay, thank you.
So,
So I think we
This is
declare,
a vote out of necessity, right? We have to do this. But at the same time, like, the retaining wall fix honestly could probably be done even without a building permit, right? You're repairing something that exists.
Yeah.
I want this to be as low friction as possible, right? They're putting in a sidewalk to make it safe for their employees. They could skip that step altogether and still do this project, right? So I struggle with, we got to go to county because of the
right,
rule.
and they come back in 30 days, we declare ourselves lead agency, at the next meeting after hearing input from county, we'll get
but
response.
it's a type 2 action, right?
Well,
It depends on that answer.
And what
Sorry?
now we have to
county-
wait for the county.
Okay.
But I think we can move it
The
next.
police board still controls where it sets the secret level.
Right.
I mean, it's your assessment that guides it, the county does not.
They make
We
they make their
have
recommendation,
suggestions.
or yes, their guidance. We don't have to follow it, but we have to have a reason not to.
Know which path you're walking before you
Right.
So-
refer everything to county, because they have to look at
We wanna make
everything
the-
that's the basis of your secret.
we would want to make the type 2 designation before it goes to county, or no?
No.
Well, the EAF goes to county. When we circulate the information of the full statement of information that goes to county, that will include the EAF?
It'll include everything. I might even send Ian like these
Probably the whole
documents
thing.
too.
Yeah.
The whole thing probably
I'll
goes.
send everything so that they can make the best determination and know the project as a whole.
And their review will not have to do with our seeker analysis, but has the
It
rest of
means
the
like a-
details and comments that they make based on the project as a whole, not
Or a matter
specific
of
to
local
seeker.
Right,
concern.
they say it's a matter of
It's
local
a
concern,
matter-
they defer to
Right.
your board. But statutorily, you are required to refer to the county prior to taking action.
Yeah, we get their input, then we make our decision.
And to that point, the one item that came up in here was we submitted our seeker, filled it out back in May. That's when we downloaded it from the site, had all the preloaded information in there, filled it out. I do recognize that they just updated the seeker forms in June. I actually haven't even had a chance to really review to see what the differences really are. But I would like to know if maybe that's something we should
I would
consider
recommend using
before
the
going to
forms.
county.
Yeah, because you're pending before the board, you should use the updated forms prior.
So how would I go about that if I need to get it to you before you can go to the county?
Well, we could vote to circulate it to county with the updated forms and then send them once you submit them to
Okay.
Emma.
Because it's straightforward enough for me to fill them out. That's not the issue. I just don't want to delay it if we don't have to.
So you authorize circulation to county
Right.
upon receipt of the updated secret forms.
With the agent form, the updated agent, so that it's signed and that we know that this is, Eric?
No, that's me.
Oh,
I'm facilitating.
you filled it out. You filled out the EAF?
I filled some of it out and the rest was filled out by,
So probably Well, whoever's filling out the forms should be authorized by the owner as agents.
Okay.
Owner authorization.
That's the Part B applicant agent affidavit. And owner affidavit. That's Part A, sorry.
And, yes, perhaps A and B with owner and agent. Yes.
So Eric or Steve would be Part B applicant agent.
Yep.
Part A would be the
Owner.
owners.
Yes, right. So Charlie Ward is the owner, and then he is the applicant.
Got it.
So then once I get that, I'll send it over.
Perfect.
And you said we need to move that?
I like a vote.
You should authorize it.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep it clear for the record.
Yep.
All right, further, I guess, do we do a motion for that as well? Okay, for a motion, do I hear a motion to authorize Amanda to get the new documents, secret forms, and send those to the county for their municipal law 239M review? Do I hear a
Yes.
motion? I got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So then, just from a process point of view, this goes to county in a few days or a week or whenever you finish, comes back in
Within
not less than
30
30
days.
30 days.
Within 30 days, it comes
So-
back. It'll be back
So best case, it comes back for a meeting,
before the next, yeah.
okay. And then, are we required to hold a public hearing?
I don't recall in the code there being a section to waive the public hearing for site plans.
Not for special use permits, but
We'll review
look.
this before we get to that meeting.
Could at least a
Do we want to
public hearing-
declare ourselves the intent to be the agency, depending on what the county comes back? Because if they come back not saying it's a type 2, I still want to be
so
the
again,
lead.
the county does not declare it.
They're going to give a recommendation,
You would be waiting on Karen's
review
review
of their
subject to
package.
the comments just received from the applicant tonight to determine whether it's type 2 or whether it is on that list.
So
I mean,
if, say,
if
if,
you declare yourself intent to serve as lead agent,
because I want that 30-day
then
period.
you would have to circulate the intent
Okay, never-
and declare it either non-listed
Okay,
or it's
there's-
form.
all right, there's-
So I would recommend waiting for Karen's review.
Yep.
If it comes back as a type 2,
Then it's
then you're
done.
moving on, you don't have to go through that process at
Right.
all.
Okay.
For my own
I don't know what the-
education,
Sorry, go ahead.
because her name wasn't on the letter, is Karen the TDE?
She's the planner.
The
She's
planner.
the senior planner, yeah.
Okay.
But they have the engineers in their office.
Yes.
So that's who's with Labella. Okay.
That's LaBelle. Yes, sorry.
So I'd also like to give feedback to Karen. Like, I don't know what the official way as a board to give feedback is, but I don't see the relevance of half of the questions here. They're building a sidewalk, right? ADA compliance is not relevant. Like, so many of these things don't seem to be relevant to the part of the site that they're disturbing, right? So I don't want her to go and do the same thing we would be doing for a larger project for this. It's not necessary, and it's just going to take us down more rabbit holes unless
Well,
there's
she-
legal reasons.
Right, well, she did a review, a clean slate review on the project, and she came up with a series of comments. Whether you think they apply or not, that was her professional judgment.
Right.
He's answered them. I don't think it's wrong for you to make your opinion known, which ones of these comments that maybe were over and above, but she has to take a clean slate review of everything. She
Yeah.
can't say, well, these guys get this and these guys get that.
No,
So,
I'm not suggesting any special treatment
Right.
whatsoever. I'm suggesting you look at the plan,
Right.
and the plan is a new sidewalk here. And if you're not paving the parking lot, if you're not changing the number of employees, I mean, if all of these things stay the same except this one little piece, then all of this, I mean, yes, it needs to be built safely. It needs to be built to ADA spec, width, pitch, et cetera. But we don't need to pull in the rest of this by accident.
yeah, I think she looked at, I'm assuming she looked at it as a property as a whole and did her professional review. So, I mean, you can disagree, and I think you should make that known. I mean,
You can always
here-
send me an email address to Karen and I'll
Yeah.
forward it to
Let's-
her.
And then we have, depending on what the next discussion is, we'll get to those points. I'm assuming most of these responses will resolve these. And if not, there'll have to be a clarification at the next meeting, a further discussion, at a minimum, to resolve those.
Okay.
So, all right?
Just for my clarification, sorry. So the next meeting, I think we said was August 11th, right?
Yes.
So do we need to do anything to get onto that, or is that something that gets worked out or automatically on it?
As long as I get the information
We
to
just
you.
need that
Okay,
information.
gotcha.
Right.
I mean, we would agenda them, when we got something back from the county, right?
There, yeah.
And they,
Yeah, you're gonna be on the agenda. You're gonna be in.
and they responded to the comments, so by that alone, I think they were on the agenda. Because we were good.
It'll be addressed.
We'll have a new review.
And you'll potentially have secret.
Keep moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether or not you hear back from the county for the
But
next
just as soon
meeting.
as you can get it to me, the sooner I can get it to the county.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it sounds like you have a referral because it's the proximity to the railroad. That's what it sounds like.
Thank you. Okay. The next application and the last is the application for 16 Henry Street. So, if you could just introduce yourself and tell us anything you want to share about the project.
Wendy Yurt. It's for a renewal of a special use permit. My bad, we bought it during COVID. We did everything, they gave us the permit. We never knew that we had to have it renewed every so often until I spoke to Amanda about getting a deposit back and opened a whole can of worms.
When you were initially granted the special use permit, weren't you told the conditions of the special use permit at that
You know-
time, that you had to come back and renew it?
No, it was during COVID. We never actually really, it was so convoluted because we couldn't really meet with people. Unless, nobody ever told me. My husband didn't know about it unless, I don't know if the realtor knew, but there.
I was a member of the board at that time, and I remember that when you were granted that, there were certain stipulations that you had to meet. And, let's see right here, okay, thank you.
Yes, but every 2 years is one of them. There's four conditions that you,
Yeah,
Right.
I didn't come to the meetings, my husband did.
Right.
If he missed that,
That was dated August 26, 2020. And the four conditions were the owner must reside in the main house. The use variance granted does not go with the land, but with the owner. The proper front door and two main egress must be installed, and the special use permit must be reapplied every 2 years. Those are stipulations.
yeah, like I said, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the renewal, I think, is set out in the code itself for any special use permit for an accessory dwelling unit. So it's not just for this particular application, it would apply to any accessory dwelling unit.
So, I mean, that's all I can say is I'm sorry. I did not know that until we came and talked to Amanda.
Do you and your husband reside in the main house on this property?
We do not.
Okay. So that is a qualifying factor if you have the accessory unit?
The house is owned by an LLC that we are a part of. It's not owned by an individual person.
Okay. Well, one of the conditions set out in the code is that the owner of the lot has to reside in the main house. Otherwise, you do not qualify for the accessory dwelling unit, you're unable to rent it out.
Okay. Tell me what you need me to do and I'll do it.
An owner needs to reside in the main house.
So I have to kick my tenants out.
Yes.
Okay. I'll
Or
kick
you
them
can
out.
also live in the accessory dwelling unit. You can live in either the principal or accessory dwelling unit on the lot as the owner's primary residence.
No, we lived there for a while, then my daughter lived in the house, and then we moved to Connecticut.
Right. Yeah, you can't rent out both spaces to tenants. So an owner needs to reside in one of the units.
Does it have to be, I mean, the girl that's in there, she's related, the one who lives in the house. I mean, she doesn't own the house.
You can make her an owner of the LLC, but you can't. It has to be an owner of the LLC, related to the LLC, needs to reside in one of the units.
Okay, so then the one in the house, if she's my cousin, I can put her on the LLC, I'll give her 1% share in it. And
You can list her as an owner, and if she can show, if you can show those changes in the documents, and she's residing there as her primary residence.
As evidenced by mail received by one of the owners, this owner, I guess, at the property.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Bills, the mail to show evidence of.
Yeah,
residence.
she pays the electric bill and everything.
So right now, she's a renter, correct?
Yeah.
So if she's put on the LLC, and she doesn't, and for some reason she moves away,
Then we'll be back in the same.
An owner.
she has to stay, she's got to stay there.
I don't think she's going anywhere anytime
Well,
soon.
I'm just putting that out there. If she decides to leave in 2 years, the owner.
Some owner has to live there.
An owner has to live there.
Right, which not currently true, has not been true for a while, but we're looking to correct that.
Yeah, I
Is the
can put her on
intent.
the LLC.
And then reconsider.
So it's possible, it sounds like.
Yeah, I can add her to the LLC, no problem.
Okay, so we can take up review of that after we
How do
see.
we do that?
Change in ownership.
Do I just go to my lawyer and have him say, can we
Yes.
add her to the LLC?
Go ask your lawyer.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you can also bring a copy of the code. I mean, it's pretty specific what has to happen.
Okay.
So, but how do we want to handle this? I mean, we're 4 years overdue on this. Do we want to consider
Another question
renewal?
about the ownership change, quick, before you do that.
Sure. Oh,
I
please,
appreciate
please.
that. The use variance granted does not go with the land, it goes with the owner.
That's not legally sound whatsoever. All use variances, any variances always.
goes with the land.
And not with the owner, correct? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not even 100% sure on why there was
A use variance.
granted. We're still digging into that. It's unclear, do you remember
No, I don't.
why there was a use variance? I mean,
No.
well, I'll have to go back through the minutes.
I'll
but
look
no,
through
I
the
don't
planning
remember.
board minutes, I
The
just
zoning
went
board
through the
minutes.
ZBA, and there was literally one meeting for the ZBA to
It might
grant the
have to be something with
variances.
square
They
footage.
opened with a public hearing, they didn't even introduce the project, it was one meeting for the variances.
But under the code, if you want to rent the ADU to somebody
Right.
else,
I
you need a special use permit. So, I mean, we can assume that's the use of that's why it's there.
Well, no, there was a use variance.
Oh, there's variance too.
Yeah, there was a use variance.
Yeah, there's
granted,
variance.
and
That's why
what
it's
we're
like-
questioning.
Oh,
Yeah.
setback?
How would we is it possible to get that changed where you don't have to live there to rent it? Like,
It's a code
is that something the whole village abides by?
Anyone who has an accessory dwelling unit has to abide by that rule. The change, you would have to speak to the village board about that. It's only there is a legislative action that they would have to undertake.
Okay.
Based on it.
And it's specific to having the two different rental properties on the same property. Right? If you just had one house, you could rent it to anybody you chose, live anywhere you chose, right?
It's with the ADU,
Right.
yeah.
And if I'm guessing, and I wasn't there when they wrote this, I'm new to Pauling, newish, newer than Lou. I mean, this is all about like limiting Airbnb kind of spread, right?
Or not having a responsible person there should.
Right, where you're just kind of,
be a situation.
the owner's gone and they're just packing people into the property, so it's trying to, so I think that's the intent, my guess. But it's a really readable chunk of the code. It's in the letter they sent you, the particular section. You can read it and sort of see what the rules are and see if it's still something that you want to pursue.
Yeah, there's a letter from Labella Review that there's some comments you have to address as well. And it brings up, it talks about a ZBA area variance.
That's about the size. That has to do with that first section. An accessory dwelling shall be less than 450 square feet.
It's very specific. It's like between 450 and 500 square feet.
So I assume that's what
So
the
maybe
previous
that's-
area variance was. The area variance, the use variance, I still haven't, I don't know. But it sounds like there will need to be the site plan, the special use permit, and the area variance. That's what Karen flagged. And so we'll need an EAF Part 1.
Is that thing I had to print off the internet?
Do we have it? Is it in this, did we get an EAF?
I just got the thing by email like 2 days ago, so I don't.
And this,
No, I have the old EAF that I put in with everybody's. I'll show you.
We'll need a new one.
Did you get this that I emailed you?
And it says
Yes,
as well,
and
this
I
is a
did this
239M
short
county
environmental
review.
assessment
I
form.
mean,
Because you can go
it's-
to this
she lists it
website
as
and
a-
it'll, okay, it'll
Yeah,
help you
it
fill
did.
it out.
So
It
there's
filled it
that
out
as
for me.
well.
I didn't know what I was doing. And then I've got her electric bills for the last 3 months.
It's a town road, I mean, village road.
And
Is it,
I didn't know. I tried to find out what that was.
Is there-
but I looked
is
it
there a
up
certain
and I couldn't
distance?
find it.
432
I didn't know what that was.
So, well,
is it near the utility conduit? line? I mean, is that considered? No? So could you check that, please?
so it filled out all they can, but you're gonna have to answer the rest of these questions.
Okay, I'll do that. and
All
I'll
right,
email
and then
it
you
to
can email it to me. Okay. And then, yeah, if you do that and then get the LLC or add it to the LLC.
Yeah,
then
that
we'll
should be
forward
pretty
that
easy.
and we can give it to the consultant.
Okay.
So we treat this as a new application.
This should be, I would recommend that you treat this as a new application. If it was a renewal, I mean, I think the circumstances have changed significantly here where now we know that there was a shift in the residents, to put it that way. And given the amount of time that's lapsed since the grant approval, I would consider this a new application.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree.
Definitely.
I mean, I put it on the computer like.
Plus, I get rid of hopefully that pesky use. Is that right over the number?
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'll dig on that myself, just because I'm curious. All right, so we have a plan of action.
Okay, so I'll finish this, send it, email it to you tomorrow. Get the LLC done, and then,
And then
Do you-
we'll be in
did
touch.
she receive this? Okay.
So there's a few other questions that were asked, right, that we could use your input on, right? Not just the short form, but we also want, you should take a look at 9880, the zoning section, and provide sort of your narrative about what's going on, how many parking spaces exist on the site, and then the 3 months of electricity bills is generically utility bills.
yeah, I
just
have
report.
those. I have it for the accessory,
I don't think
because
it matters as long as
Okay.
the,
I didn't get them for the house.
Whichever one shows the owner residence. So is it, who is it, your niece you said?
Yeah, it's a cousin.
Your cousin. So
Yeah.
once your cousin is an owner of the LLC, then evidence that she is receiving documentation
Okay.
demonstrates
So to get
her
from her.
residence at the location.
Okay.
So it looks like the 239 might have been also for the proximity to the railroad.
Okay.
So if it's within 500
100 feet,
of
okay.
the railroad, then it will trigger the referral.
So that's why. Perfect.
Okay, so I'll get all that back to you as soon as I can.
Okay.
Anything else you need from
So,
me?
there's going to be a special use permit application then? Okay, so we're starting from scratch as if nothing ever happened.
Right, we're starting new.
You're going to change the owner?
Well, this application is from scratch,
Yes.
Okay,
the one you had. Yeah.
okay.
And, I mean, I would just note from the previous approval, there was a condition of the doors. I'm assuming that that was done.
Yeah.
There's the out.
Okay, so that was done, yeah.
Yeah, it's got the
They have a seat.
giant window in it so they could climb out.
I can send you section 9880.
Thank you, because I told you I couldn't find it. I had to have somebody at work print out the form for me.
I'll send you that
Sucks getting old.
tomorrow. It's on my list.
All right, thanks, Amanda.
Okay.
You good?
Anything else? No? I think we're good. All right. I guess any other items to be discussed? No?
I mean,
Okay.
I'm struggling, I disagree with the opinion of our attorneys regarding this road here. And I don't know what the right forum to discuss that is, but it's something we have to discuss, and we have to probably discuss it publicly. But I don't think we need her.
True.
Thank
Right,
you.
so I don't know how to do that. I mean, if you guys don't want to have the discussion, I'm fine. I'll just be a vote whichever way,
Well-
but
I'll say this. the stuff they presented today, to me, that was new for the circulation, so I want to look at that. There were some items I asked the attorney to answer, the existing connection. I want to understand, at least legally, the definition between, for me, it's a private common driveway, to a parking lot, versus this historic use that he's stating for the public road.
Well, but when I go to Vinnie's, I drive that, right?
I will step in here. I recommend not discussing this outside the applicant's presence.
Okay.
Because you've closed that matter, and they don't get the benefit of hearing this live.
Understood.
I would recommend, if you have questions, please feel free to email us, or if you want to have discussion or return time session, of course, we're able to accommodate that. But just,
Well,
given the
at a
nature of the
minimum,
application.
if his memo addresses things beyond what yours does, I mean, I'd like to see that, right? If he's got 20 points and you address 10, can you go back and address the other 10?
Certainly.
I mean, I'm not remembering that memo. I don't know why. Maybe this has something to do with it.
Well, it was in the last pile.
So I'm concerned that he says you didn't respond to some of his salient points. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's right, and I get that, but I'd love like a more detailed analysis of his points. Because otherwise, I look at it and I have 100% agreement with it, right? One private business gets it, but not another one? Seems like...
I say we hold the discussion.
All right.
The meeting's over.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
Well,
Not quite.
So-
until you make the motion.
Okay, let's hear a motion to end this meeting.
I move we adjourn.
Okay,
Lou
second.
seconds
All in favor?
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Rich.
I